Hi there, Perfecto De Castro here, and welcome to this episode of FingerTIPS. Now in this episode, I'd like to talk about the ever faithful tremolo bar or whammy bar, and all the tips and techniques that I use to help spice up my lead playing. Currently, I have two tremolo-equipped guitars. One is this Fender Stratocaster, a 62 reissue, made in Japan. It's got the vintage style tremolo with the vintage style tuners and a regular bone nut, and I have it set to floating, which means I can, aside from being able to bend the pitch down, I can also pull notes up. Now my other tremolo equipped guitar is this thing right here, an Ibanez RG5EX1, which I have modified to accept an original Ibanez Edge tremolo. I like these older style Ibanez Edge tremolos than the newer Edge 3s and Edge 2s and lower Edge. It just fits my hand better, and I feel it's a lot more stable when while playing with it. And like my Strat, it's set to push down and pull up. Later on, I'll get into the difference between manipulating a Floyd Rose style tremolo and a Strat style tremolo. Now, ever since I was a kid, I've always been intrigued by the sounds that you could pull off with a properly set whammy bar. You know, so as soon as I got my first Floyd Rose equipped guitar, I went to town doing all sorts of things like the, dive bombs, the squeals and stuff, the motorcycle sounds, elephant sounds, and all sorts of silliness. Well, as my playing progressed, I've gravitated towards a more organic and melodic use of the whammy bar in my playing. And this is due to two people. The first is Steve Vai, who, as we all know, has elevated guitar technique ever since he came out, and among which is his use of the whammy bar. And then the other guy is Jeff Beck, who with his Stratocaster has influenced me to go for more vocal quality in my use of the whammy bar. Now, the way I have my whammy bar set up is that I like to have the bar itself within finger's reach from my picking hand position. Okay, I don't like it wildly swinging about, because what usually happens is while playing, I end up chasing the bar whenever I need to use it. And at the same time, I don't want it too static, where it just stays in one place, and which usually gets in the way of strumming, or if I need to reach some of the other guitar controls. Okay, so from my picking hand position, all I need to do is just reach with my pinky and ring fingers, and the bar is in my hand. Now, a lot of people gravitate towards grabbing the bar only right at the very end of it, this part right here. There's a whole range of control that's available to you depending on where you grab the bar. If you hold it towards the base, it's good for subtle vibratos. Right? The closer to the end of the bar that you go, the wilder the vibrato gets. Right. This is based on the same amount of movement you use with your right hand. Also, the part closer to the base of the tremolo affords you better control over the bar, which is great for bending to specific pitches. and it keeps your hand close to the string so you can pick them easy. Now, as far as my hand is concerned, I use every part of the fingers to manipulate the bar, depending on what I need at a given situation. So I can use my fingertips, the tip of my middle finger, to push down on the end of the bar, or I can use the middle joints to push and pull the lower part of the bar. Now, one of the first steps that you need to do to refine your whammy bar technique is to practice bending to specific notes using the whammy bar. The process is not unlike learning how to bend strings for the first time. You need to use your ear, and also you need to take note of how much pressure you're using on the bar to get the particular pitch. So let's take the D note on the 3rd string, the 7th fret, and I want to, let's say I want to bend that up 2 frets to the E note. Okay, repeat that several times, and then shoot for other notes. Let's say I want to bend it a half step to the E flat. Or I want to bend it 3 frets to the F note. Okay. You can also bend down to specific notes, which is a little bit harder because you'll be working against the springs that are trying to pull the tremolo back to the 0 position. But with a little more practice and patience, then it can be done. Now let's say I want to bend this E note on the 9th fret, 3rd string, down to a D. How about a half step? How about 3 frets? Okay. Now one of the things you can also do is to bend a wide interval, bend down to a wider interval. Let's take that same E note and let's see if I can bend it down to B, which is 5 frets down. Now let's shoot for an A. That's hard. From here on in, you can take some of your bendy licks, you know, like this easy pentatonic bending lick, and replace that bend with a whammy bar maneuver. So that would sound like this. Easy. Let's say you have a more complicated bending lick like this. Once you get the hang of that, you can start working on little 2 or 3 note melodies, and just playing those all 2 or 3 notes with the whammy bar. Or you can play a whole melody with a harmonic and your whammy bar. I like the Floyd Rose system. Once it's properly set up, it rarely goes out of tune, and it affords you a wider range of pitch bending. You know, you can slacken all the strings and still have it come back up to pitch perfectly every time. That said, it's a little clunky to maneuver because it's just a bigger unit. and you need a little bit more muscle to work your magic to it. Now, a Stratocaster whammy bar, on the other hand, is non-locking. It doesn't have the same range as a Floyd Rose tremolo. It's a little limited. But what it's got going for it is the bridge itself is a lot lighter. So it's easier for you to muscle your way through manipulating it. And for some reason, I find it a little more expressive, mainly because I have more control over it. Now, I'm going to leave you with this recent discovery of mine. If you have your tremolo set up full floating, which means you can pull up on the notes, make sure you have it set up that you have at least a minor third range when you're pulled up on the third string, a whole step on the second string, and a half step on the first string. Okay. Now, what this affords you to do is that I guess it's just the way it works, but if you pull up a whole step on, let's say, the third string, the next higher string, which is the second string, will go up a half step. Now, knowing that opens up a whole range of possibilities for you, like this lick. Okay, let me turn off the gain so you can hear it clean. Okay, you have that nice little pedal steelish lick there. So within the same whammy bar pull, my third string went up a whole step, and my second string went up a half step to get this lick. If you alter your left hand shape slightly, you can actually bend to specific notes. For example, I want to get this major third sound. I can go down 2 frets on the third string and then 1 fret on the second string, then play those and bend it up with a whammy bar. That ratio also applies to the first and second strings. So if I bend the second string a whole step, I will bend the first string by a half step. So let's say I want to go from a major third to a minor third. Ain't that cool? And I also should mention that the pedal steel licks work on a Floyd Rose tremolo as well. So you're not limited to this kind of tremolo. Okay, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Fingertips. And for any comments, suggestions, feedback, just post them in the comments box below and I'll see what I can do. Okay, so peace. Be good humans.